A good place to get la carne bien buena for like an asada is on 162nd and it's like 162nd at first. It might be called Las Palmas.
Okay.
I can't remember for sure, but there used to be a GameStop. Now there's an auto parts store. That place.
Okay.
They'll hook you up too.
Today we're going to have a podcast with the principal here at Heritage High School. This is where I went to high school. We're going to talk about Heritage High School. We're going to talk about Evergreen Public School District, and we're going to talk about him as a person. Let's get to it. Come on. Or why is there more classes being built here?
Well, so the initial goal of the past levy was to replace portable classrooms. And the portable classrooms, you don't feel as safe when you're portable, you don't feel as connected to your school. And so when we built this building and we did the renovations in the old building, it was all to replace classrooms. So we had to replace nearly 30 classrooms worth of portable space.
Oh, wow.
And then you had to incorporate hallways and restrooms and just operational aspects of any new building. And so it was a really interesting process with architects and opinions and focus groups and really narrowing down what we wanted. But the idea was to replace and no longer have portables and then also build enough space for growth. So if this area continues to experience growth, to not have to just throw in some more portables. So we have a handful of spaces that we're not having to use every single period of the day. That's a good thing now. As people move in, we'll be ready to handle that growth. But the original idea was, let's not have kids having to go to school in portables. Let's get them into some of these other exciting spaces.
Okay. So you have no portables here anymore, correct?
No portables at all.
Or do you know if any of the other high schools have portables?
I know that Mountain View completely reconstructed their entire high school. It used to be kind of one level spread out. It almost looked like a school from California. It's now a 3-story building. They have no need for portables. I'm not sure on Evergreen. I know that Evergreen 10, 12 years ago, I think had gone through a bit of a remodel and that helped relieve some of the portables. Union is building some things with their music program that I think is maybe their only growth. I'm not sure if they have portables. I see more portables at middle school level, but at the high school level, we're sitting pretty with not having to have portables.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So with all these new classes being built, is there less kids per teacher now, or
it's not
those numbers?
It's not so much less. It's not so much fewer students per teacher. That has stayed relatively the same since you were here. In 10 years, it seems like it stayed pretty constant throughout. High school can be a little bit different, and because there will be some programs that might have fewer kids because it's kind of a specialty. So the further you go on in school, the more specialized your class might be. So when I'm in the culinary program, it might be kind of crowded because lots of kids are taking that, but there might be a different class of robotics or Spanish or welding or different things where there might be slightly fewer kids in those classrooms. So it just depends. There's no two classes are alike, it almost seems, at a high school. There's just a lot of variety. Okay.
And do you guys have any other classes that are, I guess, new since I've left, or do you have just the same classrooms? That cooking class, I believe we had cooking class. This one's definitely a lot nicer, but.
Yeah, so baking and desserts and some more advanced culinary things I think would be new. We have a class called Imagine, Design, and Make It. It's kind of an engineering class. We didn't have that when you were here, but it recognizes an increase in what we call the STEM career, so that science, technology, engineering, math. And so that Imagine It, Design It is, we had architects coming in to visit those students and see different things. We've had kids come out of that program that have been winning presentations and kind of model design stuff. They got to present in Canada a few years back. Oh, wow. So I think if it's not a full-on class that is new, it's a new direction that a former class has taken of making the learning more relevant, competing at different things, linking it with the club, finding if there's opportunities to travel with the learning from that class. So I think more than anything, it's fewer new classes and it's more new opportunities with the learning that's happening in those classes. Our teachers are getting better and better. Our families are getting stronger and stronger about finding opportunities of, my kid is working hard with this thing, is there something that they can do with that in the real world, or that kind of looks like the real world, which helps their chances for scholarships and college applications and those sorts of things. So that's the biggest change, I think, is people making it more relevant.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I mean, so with just coming here, off topic here, I saw all the new fences just surrounding the school, gates. So what's up with that there? Is it just a closed campus now? Or?
Yeah, so dual purpose there. One is school safety.
Okay, that's a big thing.
Sadly, we live in a world today where sometimes you get strangers coming by and you don't know, and they probably have no ill will, but it just can be concerning for parents and students and staff. And so one idea behind that was the school safety of just have it be a more closed campus, and at certain times of the day have it be a quite secure closed campus. Today, obviously, we're on a Saturday and we've got a tournament going on. We got a big track meet, and so it feels a little more open. But the community is responsible. It goes fine. I think the other thing, though, is within that closedness, the courtyard is a new area since you were here.
Yeah.
When you were here, that was just a sidewalk out to a grass football field.
Exactly.
And now it's a courtyard with steps and turf and little tiny amphitheater, and it goes out to a beautiful turf field with a track, with a scoreboard, with lights for the fields. And so this is a place that's just open a lot of community members getting a lot of use out of the different spaces. And so school safety, but also a courtyard, which can be a great convening place for students for different things. There was a patio, another enclosed patio on the way. That's where he held homecoming dance, so it's an outdoor dance. So you get a nice night in September. And that's something unique for Heritage is we do our homecoming dance outside, and kids have loved it. So we're, I think, on year 3 of doing it that way. And it's just been kind of fun, kind of unique.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So get into that field there.
Yeah.
Do you guys, I know when I went to school here, we had our home games at McKenzie Stadium.
Yeah.
Do you guys have them here now, or is it still at McKenzie Stadium?
Our football games are still at McKenzie because it's just too big, and when you include the whole band, and Friday nights are huge, and so this isn't big enough to host a Friday night kind of activity. Soccer, on the other hand, our boys soccer team is ranked 6th in the state. We are good, and we've been good a couple years now. Boys are working hard, coaches doing great things. We pack it in pretty good for a soccer game. So we always host our soccer games here. We just had a senior night last week. We whooped the Evergreen Plainsmen. It was awesome, our rival. Beat them, and people were fired up, and it was hopping here. And so it's big enough, and now with these lights, I mean, that's the lights are the game changer. So it was great to be able to have that really feel like a home game. It was like, no, this is our turf. Like, here we go. Yeah. So it's been great for soccer. It's been great for track. I'll show you later the baseball and softball. Those have just been the lights in the fields. It's just a huge game changer, and it gives people you get to practice more often. You're not held back by weather, so it's great.
Okay, so speaking about that. With the fences being put up, are kids still able to come on Saturdays or Sundays to play on those fields if they want, or are they locked? Are they unlocked? How does that work? Yeah, so you can get into the campus because we want to be open for the public. So we have the path that goes around the entire building. What's closed off to the public and what you have to make like a field request for and like a paid use thing would be those individual fields. And then certainly if you needed it to be lit, that's a whole other separate arrangement. But for example, our baseball soccer fields, those are things like you can certainly get onto campus, but you're not going to be able to get in the fence of said field. You could get into here and be able to walk the track or walk a loop around the campus. But to actually be using the fields, that's a whole process with the district. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But that's also been great because you'll have young leagues. We have an adult flag football league, and so that's a way to also generate income and have our fields working for us, so to speak, as a district of we are of use to you, but there's a process for that. So you want to, once you have the nice things, you want to keep the things nice. Okay. So you guys have an adult flag football team.
There's an adult flag football league that plays their games
Oh,
here.
a league.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And they pay to do that?
They pay to do that, yeah.
Is that the only thing you guys got for the field?
No, there's like young youth soccer leagues. There's a huge basketball tournament right now going on that's a Hoop Source tournament. So it's an outside entity that is renting the gym space. The gym has been refurbished since you've been here too. We could probably swing in there too. But yeah, so the building gets a lot of use for a lot of different purposes. Those are the ones. Athletics is the biggest one.
Yeah.
But there are other groups that use it for other things too.
Okay. And if somebody wanted to rent it out, another league, who do they reach out to do that? To bring more money to the school and to help themselves out? The district office, and they could first give a call to any of the buildings that they were trying to use. It'd be true here, Mountain View, Union, Covington, wherever it is that entity is going to be using it best. They could reach out first to that building just to quickly check, like, do you even know your calendar right now to know if this is even worth asking? And if they have the free date, then the building would pass them towards the district, and they would work with a person named Chris who does great work for us. And I can't imagine how tough her job is because lots of people want space. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question, I guess, just I always had is, what exactly do you do as a principal?
Man, what don't I do?
Yeah.
I have an awesome job. I hang out with people who are really passionate about what they do, teaching and working with youth, and then I get to watch kids learn. And sometimes it's kids who are already crushing it academically, and I get to see them take those next steps towards college or a career. Sometimes it's a kid who has had a tough background or a challenge here and there, and the light finally comes on and they're excited about learning, and I get to see them kind of turn that corner. High school is a beautiful thing because you have this thing called graduation, and it is the end of, usually 380 different journeys of how a kid gets to go across that stage and get their diploma. So it's a very rewarding career in that regard. A lot of my time is spent around making sure the school is safe and secure. A lot of it is spent around making sure teachers are doing a good job of delivering lessons that are engaging and that are meeting kids where they're at. And then a lot of my time is spent doing things that happen outside of school after 3:15, like supporting athletics or the fine arts programs, some of our other career opportunities and clubs. So a lot of the job of a principal is also about life after 3:15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I know there's like a lot of things going on in the world now, and you hear big things of, oh, this teacher did this, or they're teaching this in class.
Yeah.
Who supersedes that? Do you guys come in classes and make sure they're teaching the things they're supposed to be teaching, or whose job is it to go and check in on teachers?
Well, first and foremost, it's the teacher's job to be abiding by their own standards that they're supposed to be teaching and their own curriculum they're supposed to be teaching. And so teachers know they have what's called a scope and sequence. They not only have the content that, hey, stay within these parameters, but they also have a timeline of like, you need to stay within these parameters, even if it's not something controversial or whatever. It's just, we have a limited amount of time to teach quite a bit of stuff, whether that's math or social studies, culinary, whatever. We got to get after it. That's why attendance matters so much. Like, we're moving, right? So first and foremost, teachers do that. But between myself, associate principals, an instructional coach, departmental meetings with those teachers, meeting with teachers who teach similar things, these are all opportunities to kind of calibrate and keep track of, are we staying on track? Are we doing the things we're supposed to be doing? The things that you might hear in the news that are just these outlier cases of like, what the heck was that teacher thinking or whatever, invariably that would come down to me. I can't think of times where I've happened into, whoa, what's going on here? But no, there would be, that would be something that would come to me, and then I would have to process that if that ever happened. But by and large, for educators, they police themselves pretty well, and they have some other safeguards in there to kind of keep it dialed in on here's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So when it comes to hiring, is that something you do as well?
Yeah, big on the hiring. We just had a job fair earlier this week, meeting a lot of prospective teachers and educators that are hoping to get employed. It's a tough time to get employed sometimes as a teacher, depending on what district. There's a lot of budget cuts and different things, so sometimes it can be tough. But yeah, the hiring process, Everything from a job fair to an interview question to a background check to reference checks. That's for sure something that I do and my associate principals do also.
Okay, that's good to know. Mm-hmm. You guys, you heard it here. I guess another thing for the people out there, they obviously want to know about Heritage High School, what you guys have to offer. You've already talked about that. I think let's talk about you as a person, if you don't mind. Just tell them, I guess, a little bit about yourself, who you are exactly, if you have a family, what's your life like outside of being a principal?
Yeah, so I got the unique situation of my kid goes here, my kids went here. And so I am coming from a family of educators. My dad was a vice principal and an athletic director, and I was like a ball boy for the football team since I was 5 years old across the river in Oregon at Barlow High School. And so I've always been around it, of just being around people working hard, people working with young people. It's like all I know, I guess, in some regards. And so ever since I was about 5, and then I move up and I become the product of a school district just south of here, and appreciate my teachers, and I buy into the idea of, hey, you should go out for sports, you should try this, it will be good for you. And I went all in on that, and it turned out great. And I'm like so grateful for the things that I learned by doing the classes that I took, the sports that I played, the coaches that I met, the teammates that I had, like that all played out. Went to college. I originally thought I was going to be an architect, and then I realized, whoa, there's a little bit more math involved with architecture than I realized. So I had done a church mission, and I learned Spanish, and so I became fluent in Spanish. I'd lived in California for a couple of years and got just really immersed in lots of different language and lots of different accents. So families from Mexico, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Cubans, and so you really had to pay attention and listen closely. And so I think that helped me, obviously, language-wise, and being bilingual and fluent in Spanish has been very helpful in my career to get jobs and move up. But it also taught me just to be a better listener, more empathetic, more respectful of cultures, and just knowing, like, there are so many different perspectives in life and ways to go about it, and different kinds of values and cultures. And so that's been excellent for me throughout my career. So then I taught Spanish, I taught English, I taught social studies, I coached like 4 or 5 different sports. And so then after a while as a teacher, there was a vice principal of mine. He was a great mentor. He had happened to be my biology teacher when I was a kid. And he said, Derek, have you ever thought of being a principal? I said, no, I haven't, Frankie. He says, you ought to think about it. And so then after that, about 1.5 years later, I went into a program for administration to learn how to be a principal. Did that through University of Portland. And then became a vice principal in Oregon for middle school. And I thought I was going to do middle school forever, because that's a different kind of energy. Middle school kids, bless their hearts and bless the people that serve them, because that's a tough one. Middle schoolers can be something. Different kind of needy, but so I thought I'd do middle school forever, but then this opportunity came up to be a principal at Heritage, and I thought, man, I could come full circle. I could potentially be the principal where my kids go to school, and so I applied for it, and somehow I got this job, and it's just like a blessing, and so I've been here. This is year 10. Like I said, my boys have been able to go here. And so being able to be principal, but dad, and kind of see them grow up and get the best seat in the house for all their athletics and choir concerts and stuff, is like, I'm living a blessed life. Heritage has been nothing but great to my kids. They've had awesome teachers who have done great things for them and have had a lasting impression. They've made lifelong friends. Just last Thanksgiving, we were in the gym, and it was just like a reunion of all these Heritage basketball players, and it's just cool. It feels like family. It's just beautiful.
Yeah. Do they get special treatment, your kids?
My kids, if anything, I am so afraid of the special treatment. I try to I'm probably 2 hands off. Like, I don't ask their teachers about much. I just don't fail, man.
Yeah.
So if anything, that. I try to give them space, because I get that they may have additional eyes on them and pressure on them. So if anything, I try to be more hands-off.
Yeah, and I remember actually, I think I went to school with both of them. I think one of them was a year ahead of me, and then the one was a year or two behind.
Yeah.
Do you just have the 2 boys?
No, I got 4 boys, and then I got 4 stepkids. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and all four of the boys have spent some time at Heritage. So the youngest is a sophomore.
Okay.
And he's involved in our music programs and the track meet today and football and doing good in school. And so yeah, it's been good. They've been. Their time here has been successful. It's taught them a lot.
Yeah. Is that something you push on your kids, sports and academics?
Academics for sure, because it matters. I mean, working hard and learning to push yourself even in classes like it doesn't come naturally, or I don't think I'm going to use this. There's something to be gained from going through that sacrifice and that hard work. So for sure the academics is pushed, and they do a good job with that. The other thing that's pushed is get involved with something. Yeah. And for sometimes that it's available, and sports is one thing, and 3 of the 4 like that, and the other one, he was really interested in like film. And he now is a manager for content creators down in LA. But he did our morning announcements and did the video announcements, and he created a film festival in high school. And so he got involved with something that he was excited about. I think that's the thing that any parent should be doing nowadays is, hey, your job right now is to be a student. Do a good job of that job. Also, try some things. I think that's one of the favorite stats that I bring up about Heritage is, of all the high schools in our district, we have the highest percentage of kids involved in multiple things. They're not just specializing in volleyball or band or robotics. They're trying their hand at different things. And I think that makes for a more well-rounded kid. And going back to my own experience, I think you're going to meet more people. Yeah. You're going to get to respect more cultures and perspectives just by having been more involved in more things. And I think ages 14 through 18 is a great time of like, try a lot of different things. You're probably not going to figure it out right now, but kind of just see enough things to kind of know a little bit of the direction that you might want to take after high school. Yeah. Now, why do you think that is? Why do you think kids here at Heritage are trying different things? I think because the first thing would be the different things that we offer are awesome, and they're led by awesome adults. I mean, we have really committed educators. They do a great job with their programs. They're organized. They're enthusiastic about it. So first and foremost, our coaches, our club advisors, our teachers, they do a great job of promoting their programs and making it awesome. I would also say just the marketing of it. We take pride in being multi-involved, and I think kids are listening. I think there's a respect between the adults and the kids of like, hey, if we encourage you, like, hey, you might be good at something, they believe us. Yeah. And then once they go there, why wouldn't they? Because it is fun and it is good for them. So I think it's been a successful marketing campaign around involvement, built by a bunch of caring adults that have done a great job with it. And then like anything, for good or bad, once you start to hang out with other kids and this is going a certain way, you start to believe just from one another. And that's what makes a great team, ideally, or a great club or whatever, is somebody lit the spark, and then once everybody's around, like, this is pretty cool, right? They're in. Yeah. And then they spread that word to their little brother, little sister, the next wave comes up. And so we start to see that now too. It's like, hey, your sister did this thing 2 years, and here you are doing this thing. So I think it's just a successful vision made true by a bunch of great people. Okay. And then these sports or clubs, who creates these new sports or clubs? Do kids decide to do that? Do teachers? No, that's a great question. So basically our mentality is if you can get 8 kids excited about whatever the thing is, and they can get an advisor, we'll make it be a club. So you can be an anime club, a chess club, gay straight alliance, volleyball, cooking, robotics, whatever. If you can get enough people and they have an advisor, you always have to have an advisor who is, like, we gotta have supervisions. Like, you just be like, we're doing Dungeons and Dragons. Like, well, who are you with? Like, what's going on here? Yeah. So they always have to have an advisor, but and kids know that. And so they'll come up with new clubs. You get a new club every year, or probably 2 or 3 every year of, we've got the amount of kids, we've got an advisor who will supervise this, can we make it happen? And then we make it happen. Okay, and is there extra money that's needed to go towards those clubs? If so, who Hardly ever. I mean, and if they do, they'll fundraise for it if they really feel like they need it. But in most cases, clubs are things that they don't cost extra money, or the kids already kind of have the materials to do whatever it is that they need to do. But on occasion, they'll have to fundraise. Or some of our bigger clubs, there are big clubs like DECA and FBLA, like those are big clubs.
Yeah.
Those have dues and those have big things, and there's fundraising and there's other entities for that. But for these smaller startup clubs, there's really not much to it, and they just launch.
Yeah, can you talk about those bigger clubs like DECA for the people that may not be living here in Vancouver or Clark County?
Yeah, so DECA and FBLA are a couple of big ones that they're really around the idea of marketing and hospitality and business leaders and getting ready for careers that lead in that way. We have had enormous success with both of those programs. Excellent advisors who have motivated kids to do great things. We've had kids traveling to national and international competitions within both of those clubs. I think that's also been a place where that's been a difference maker for a kid on their college application or their resume for things, is the success that they've had within those programs.
Yeah, that sounds like a big help.
That's a big tiebreaker. So a lot of kids applying for college, I've got a 3.8 GPA. So does she. I did tennis and football. She also did sports. I did DECA. I didn't. Right, and so DECA, FBLA, HOSA is one around the health sciences. Those are three big clubs that Heritage, pretty renowned, like local, like we crush it with those clubs.
Oh, and
a lot of great
other
success.
Sorry to cut you off there. Do the other high schools in the Evergreen Public School District have those clubs as well?
Yeah, I believe for sure DECA, most certainly FBLA. The health sciences one, I'm not sure. We have, like, literally, he was like the state athletic trainer of the year. So we have an all-star within that category. And I'm not sure about the other high schools if they all have that. But they'll do blood drives a couple times a year. Again, going back to that idea of relevance. That club advisor and teachers and all of these, DECA, FBLA, it's the same thing. They're doing a great job of, I teach this by day, I do this other club, take my class, do this club. We're going to put you in places to increase your college application resume. Just this is going to help you out if you will be committed to it. So all three of those are great examples of teachers making a difference and steering kids in great directions.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. Well, I think we're going to start cutting off here.
Okay.
We've been here for a while.
Yeah.
One question I like to ask is what's your favorite thing to do here in Clark County and your favorite restaurant, if you have one?
In Clark County?
Yeah. Or it could be in Portland, Pacific Northwest.
Okay. My favorite thing to do in Clark County is spend time with my kids, so just doing anything. So we watched the NBA playoffs and the NFL draft the other night at Big Owl's with my oldest son.
Okay.
So spending time with family anywhere in Clark County is fun, and there's all these athletic events and things like that. So that'd be my basic thing for that.
Okay.
Restaurant-wise, not far from here, 5-6 minutes away from here, in the corner of kind of an old strip mall, is a place called Taqueria.
Okay.
And Taqueria is delicious. So it's a little Mexican tienda, but they make the best sopes de carne asada that I've had in the county.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I get them. In fact, my birthday is coming up in a week, and I know that my associate principals will probably buy me lunch from Taqueria. Sopes de carne asada, sin cilantro, sin cebolla. That's where it's at.
Okay, hey, you heard it here. We're gonna have to go check out that restaurant, and maybe they can hook it up.
There we go.
It up with the gift card from Mr. Garrison here.
There we go.
Alrighty, well, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.
They still have the dance room for dance.
Okay.
But now this becomes a way bigger fitness space for yoga, plyometrics, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so that old weight room, is it still a weight room?
It turned into 2 classrooms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it's nice because those 2 classrooms, I don't remember if you'll remember, there was cooking class.
Yeah.
There was a special ed classroom.
Across.
Then there was these other classrooms. Well, now all those classrooms can have a back door into the dance studio. So if you have students needing like occupational therapy, it's right here. If people are doing like first aid card, learning CPR and stuff, they can do it in that space. So it's just a way better shared space.
Yeah.
I mean, to go like to real estate, like that's shared space. So,
yeah.
We'll see the other side of this in a second. Usually this is up.
Okay.
And so you have, and these are up, so you can, in the summertime, or once the weather turns good, These are up, kids coming in and out. You do plyometrics and stuff on this little turf patch, coming in and out. It's also nice for little brothers and sisters. Look out and kind of see, look in and see themselves like, that's me one day. So we wanted to put it somewhere where taxpayers can see their investment of like, no, this is where you'll go one day.
Yeah, which is really nice. Is this the only big difference that you guys have made since these last few years? This building? This is like college stuff here.
Yep. No, we used to have
This is nice.
nearly 30 classrooms that were in portables. And so when they passed the levy, the goal was you need to replace the portables. It doesn't feel safe. It doesn't look good. It's just they're efficient, but they are not great.
Yeah.
And so the idea of passing the levy was to replace those classroom spaces with something permanent. And then we were able to get creative and find ways to get the weight room and the fitness room and do some upgrades for some of our programs, especially programs that also go beyond 3:15 p.m.
Okay.
And that's why one of the reasons why we wanted to have this specific building in the southeast corner was just that idea of location, of have it be near your fields, have it be in a place where your public is seeing where their money is going as a taxpayer, and it's going into supporting young people in their programs. And so they had thought about different locations around the campus where these spaces could go, and I kept pressing hard of like the southeast corner is where it's at. It's closest to the fields. It's close to our music programs and concerts. It's really a great place to showcase a lot of the cool programs we got going. So that's where we landed.
I need one of those keys for this gym here.
Yeah, right on. So
this thing is nice.
No, 16 squat racks, lots of large format displays to make sure you're doing form safely and recognizing students on kind of like leaderboards and stuff like that. So racks, mirrors, football. And again, with these big garage doors opening out to when the weather's good and kids are putting in the time during the summer, trying to get better. It's in and out. There's a flow to it, so it feels like a college. We have other groups come in and they say, "Man, this is like better than my college," and they went to like a decent college. Like, it's really nice. So
heck yeah.
Yeah. Remember computer labs? So you'd be in the middle of any area and you come out of the classroom and there might be some tables with some computers.
Yeah.
So now, between phones and laptops and every student having their own device, there's not really a purpose for a computer lab per se. That's just taking up that's quite a footprint for something that's like, I already have that at my desk or in my hand.
Yeah.
And so the need for computer labs has decreased. And so in most of the areas in the middle where you had a computer lab, we've turned that into an actual, walls went up. And so there's about 4 more classrooms that way. Another one I'll show you down here. So most of that stuff down there and upstairs, it's kind of just like replicated. It's classrooms, just your basic math, English, social studies classroom. So those are some pretty general ones. The weight room and fitness room are 2 of the 3 coolest things down here.
Okay.
The next one is this. So our culinary program, so we got this industrial kitchen. When you went to school with us, we had a smaller kitchen and they had maybe 10% of this stuff, and it was stored away in a closet, and you really didn't have anything big like this. It just looked like a collection of smaller residential kitchen setups.
So is this an actual classroom?
So what happens is it's a double classroom. And so on the one hand, you have this industrial kitchen here, and then out here, you have just what looks like a regular classroom. And right here where you're looking out from is the demonstration area. So if I'm coming to class on Tuesday, I'm sitting out here in a regular classroom and I'm watching on a screen and that's being demonstrated. This camera is filming an entire demonstration by the teacher here.
Okay, that's nice.
And she's mic'd up. It's portrayed out here. Kids can look at whichever screen is closest to them while she demonstrates what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
And then on Wednesday, we're coming into the kitchen space and we're doing what we learned yesterday.
That's awesome.
In a real industrial kitchen. So this is, you want to be teaching kids about the real world and what it looks like doing this work. And so to recreate these spaces and have it be so authentic is really exciting for us. So, and our numbers in our culinary program are just exploding. And I think a lot of it has to do with great teachers and great spaces.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely makes a big difference.
Yeah, so that's where we usually get our meat from.
Okay.
I'd have these little small like riblets. Yeah, that's
nice.
And then the Diez Meals meat.
Yep, there we go. Yeah.
That hits right there.
Yep. The other thing you can get, you can get the good masa. You can get the thing for the sopes.
Yeah.
At that store. That's a good one too.
Tell the people on YouTube a little bit about yourself.
Hello, I'm Lee Campbell. I'm a coach at Heritage. I coach girls JV basketball. I'm the head track coach. Today we just had our first ever Timberwolf Invitational track meet, and it went extremely well. And I'm also very proud to say our girls took first place.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about.
And as DJ Khaled would say, and another one.
Again, when we have big things like this first ever Timberwolf Invitational, or we're hosting one of these basketball tournaments, a food truck, some kind of community partner want to be like, can I do that? And it's like, yeah, you cut us a percentage of your deal, and it's a win-win for everybody.
Okay.
So as more and more of the taco trucks and the food trucks kind of come in, Teacher Appreciation Day, sometimes that's happening at different buildings. They'll bring in the shaved ice company or taco truck. So yeah, so you're seeing more and more of that community partnership, and bring it in, and they know where the people are going to be, and they're going to be hungry. So
yeah.